Welcome to Saints Now. I am Will Scott. Today's show, we're going to be looking at 4 things the New Orleans Saints must do before the game against the Carolina Panthers on Sunday, which you could certainly make the argument that is a must-win game for the Saints after the loss to the Bucs. Who do you got on Sunday? Do you have the Saints or do you have the Panthers? Type NO for the Saints or type CAR for the Panthers. Down in the comment section, go down. I want to see spam in the comments. I think it's going to be a rout. Saints should be able to take care of business. I got the Saints in a bounce-back win for sure. I think the Saints team is going to bounce back after it was a tough loss. I think Jameis, more importantly, bounces back. I think he has a really big game here against Baker Mayfield and the Panthers. Speaking of Jameis, I think you got to adjust the approach around Jameis as we take a look at our first item on the to-do list before Sunday. Here's what Jameis did last Sunday against the Bucs. 3 interceptions, 1 touchdown, 236 yards, 25 of 40. The offensive line wasn't good, but no excuses for those 3 picks as we bring in producer Trizzy Trace.
Yeah, man. So my big thing about Jameis Winston is we got to adjust the approach with that, meaning, we got to get him more protection on the offensive, not more protection, but better protection around the offensive line. You got to get him back comfortable hitting those checkdowns or those lower mid-level throws rather than airing it out deep to Chris Olave. For me, my voice is almost gone, so bear with me, guys. But for me, confidence isn't really an issue for Jameis Winston. It's more like stubbornness, I would say, is the right word. He loves taking that deep shot. He loves trying to air it out and get the home run pass, which is, sometimes it works out and you score and it's a really great and really fun play. But then by that same token, that's how you get the 30 for 30 season. You high risk, high reward. And if you ask me, he took too many deep shots to Chris Olave. To be fair, to be 100% fair, Chris Olave was burning the Bucs secondary. He was getting open. He was getting past them. He was burning them. But if you ask me, you got to hit that lower tier pass every once in a while. That way it opens up that deep pass again. And if you ask me, Winston shouldn't have been in the game that long to begin with. I think Dennis Allen should have thrown in Andy Dalton at some point in the fourth quarter once things were kind of getting out of hand. And he was playing with the 4 fractured vertebrae in his back, or the 4 fractures in his back.
There's pain everywhere. There's pain
everywhere. There's pain. There's, in your elbows and your knees or whatever. It's just like the injury doesn't necessarily just hurt you physically. It hurts you mentally as well. And you could tell that was something he was thinking. It was a distraction for him on the field. And it's unfortunate, but, hey, I really want to see Jameis Winston pop off and, come back and have a good bounce-back week against the Panthers.
This is important. This is an important game for Jameis, an important game for the Saints here as we take a look at item number 2 here. Second on the to-do list. First, we're trying to hit 9,000 subs, and if we do that, Trace is going to start the show. I'm just now learning this myself. Yep. Chugging a beer bong.
The bosses said it was okay, so we're doing it. We hit 9,000 subs. I'm hitting a beer bong to start off the show. Let's make it happen. Let's party, Who Dat Nation. I'm ready to roll.
And I'll take a shot. How about that? I'll take some shots with my guy Trizzy Trace. That's my guy Trizzy Trace. Help us get 9,000 subscribers, and if that happens, shots for me, beer bong for Trizzy Trace. Number 2 here on the list, get Alvin Kamara healthy. That is going to be very important for this football team. He did not play on Sunday against the Bucs, and his presence was definitely missed. The offense needs him out there. We saw that in the Bucs game. He opens up the offense, and, not to mention his pass-catching ability as well. And, I think Jameis, and I'm sure producer Trace will agree when he comes back on here in a second, but I think Jameis felt more pressure on him with Kamara being out on Sunday. It puts more pressure on the quarterback when your star running back's not out there helping you out. Mark Ingram, he's not outstanding. It was okay. 10 carries, 60 yards, and a fumble for Ingram, filling in for Alvin Kamara as the starting running back. Here's what the other guys did. Dwayne Washington, 4 carries, 18 yards. Tony Jones Jr., 2 carries, 8 yards. Taysom Hill, obviously, that crazy performance against the Falcons, not so much against the Bucs. 3 carries, 14 yards. Jeff Nowak tweeted this earlier. Dennis Allen says the Saints were holding out hope all the way that Kamara would be able to go on Sunday. Sounds like he was close. When I hear that, I think he should be good to go on Sunday against Carolina. Show Kamara some love. Type 41 down in the comment section. We want to see him out there against the Carolina Panthers. That is going to be huge for this football team if he's back for that game. talking about the offensive line now, because the offensive line was not very good. I'm going to get into my thoughts on that in a second. First, I'm going to tell you about our friends over at BetUS, because if you go to chatsports.com/bet and use promo code CHAT125, you will get a 125% deposit bonus. That means you put $100 in, you get $125 additional cash to bet with. Go bet on the Saints. The Saints are going to blow out the Panthers. Get that deposit bonus at chatsports.com/bet. Let's talk about the Saints offensive line, because it was a question mark coming into this season, especially with Trevor Penning out. Now it's an even bigger concern, I think, for this team after they really struggled against the Buccaneers here, Trizzy.
Yeah, so I kind of mocked up some of my things that I think that really needs some work going into week 3. First big thing is buy some more time for Jameis Winston. I saw some people in the comments saying that Jameis Winston wasn't under pressure. He threw well when he wasn't under pressure. He threw the interceptions when he wasn't under pressure. I'm sorry, but 6 sacks in one game, that's under pressure. 10 sacks for 65 yards over 2 games, that's being under pressure. How are you expected to make quality passes consistently if you don't have time to throw the ball? Yes, you could have a quick release, and yes, there's arguments all over the place. Jameis needs to be better. He has spoken about that. He has said it. So I have all the faith in the world that Jameis will get it together. I just need to see how the offensive line do a little bit more to get him some more time to throw the ball, read the defense, read his routes, and pick where he's going to, throw the ball. Building confidence and chemistry is a big thing for me as well. I think that there is a little bit of a lack of, communication or understanding where your guy is next to you, or who's going to pick up a block if, somebody gets through the line or something. It's something that I think chemistry is always, or a team with a very strong line has very strong chemistry. We need to see some of that more in the Saints offensive line. Protection calls. We got to improve the protection calls, because whenever there's shifts and whenever things are, moving, whenever a defensive lineman or linebacker, you pick up an extra blitz or something like that happens, you got to have a good adjustment. You got to know what's going on, and that immediately goes back to the chemistry aspect. And when you get hot, stay hot. The offensive line looked great in the first 3 quarters of that game, or the first half especially, but the first 3 quarters of that game, it looked pretty solid. And we saw Mark Ingram be able to break out and make a couple really nice quick moves, because he still has a little bit of burst in him. The offensive line did a good job of getting him nice sized, holes to hit and gaps to hit to get downfield. I just want to see them stay hot once they get hot throughout the whole game. They have to stay, a strong unit and not kind of fold whenever things are, getting kind of tough for them.
Right, I absolutely agree. And the offensive line, we know there's potential there. They can play a lot better than they played the first 2 weeks, and they have to if this Saints team's going to go anywhere this season. We definitely miss Trevor Penning, man. Type 70 if you want to get Trevor Penning back on the field. He's on IR, but he might return before the end of the season. He's expected to, at least. Go down and type 70 in the comments if you want Trevor Penning back, as we will look forward to his return here in several weeks, as we'll get to our next item here, and that is relax and refocus. Put this loss behind you. Refocus on the task ahead. You just lost to a very good Tampa Bay team. You cannot let that loss get to you when preparing for a very bad Carolina team.
Yeah, man. And so, I think that you had it kind of hit it on the head here when you said, don't let this loss turn into another one. I mean, that's where I feel like teams, when they get in these slumps, when they're a talented roster and a talented team, when they get in these slumps, it's because they let one loss turn into 2, which turns into 3, and then it's the snowball effect. You got to get your confidence back, got to get healthy, got to get out of this game healthy. You got to come play well, play hard, play smart, and play physical, because, yeah, the Panthers aren't a great team. Let's be real. They're not a great team, but
they're very bad.
Yeah, we also saw what happened when we played against the Falcons, though. We almost lost there. So it's like, all right, don't undermine, the lack of a quality team. Baker Mayfield's a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. He's, I'm not really too worried about it, but the defense got to get after him. I'm really looking forward to this game.
It is worth noting it's been 2 very close losses here for the Panthers to begin the season, so they might be better than their 0-2 record. And Sam Darnold was terrible. Luckily we got to face him a couple times last season.
Oh, yeah.
Baker Mayfield is a much better quarterback. Want to give some shout-outs to our loyal subscribers, Kenneth Fox, Hiram Dunaway Jr., Sherrod Hudson, Go Tigers. I like that name specifically. Joe Tinson as well. Appreciate all you subscribing and watching, Saints Now.